Hi everyone!
Salam Ramadan Al Mubarak to all Muslim friends. Due to the current outbreak, we all undergo a very different lifestyle than before. Like there is no more Ramadan Bazaar, no more gathering for Buka Puasa or Tarawih. So let's stay with us to protect yourself from infection along with some health tips during this fasting month. I'm Yan Fang, your host for today, and together with me we have...
Hello everyone, I'm Yuyu. I'm your pharmacist today and I'm from Jom Pharmacy Imat Matang
dan saya Nana dari Jom Pharmacy Imat Matang sebagai pharmacy assistant.
Let's talk about grocery shopping. So the coronavirus pandemic has suspended many aspects of our daily life, including trips to the grocery store. So I would like to know what are the safety tips that you can provide us before we go out to shop for those essential items?
Alright, so first of all, I think I'm very grateful that now we are seeing the active cases of COVID-19 is getting lesser right now, which is a good sign. But I still believe that there are a lot of people who are still worried when they want to go out, getting the virus, or like some people will feel that it's very troublesome because they have to gear up themselves, like for example wearing a mask, bringing your sanitizer everywhere you go, and then some even wear gloves to protect themselves, and not to mention the very strict roadblocks now we have, right? So before we go out, I think it's very important to ask ourselves, is it necessary to go out? Is this really important? If this thing can be delayed, I would suggest that maybe you can delay to the next time until it's very important. And then next up, I would suggest that is to try to avoid crowded hours, like for example, like a lot of people, very crowded. We can choose to go out during lower traffic flow. It will be better because we don't want to like increase the risk. We want to lower the risk of getting contact with each other. Nana, do you have any suggestions?
Ya, seperti yang kita tahu semua kan, kerajaan pun sudah membenarkan 4 orang, satu keluarga boleh keluar sudah kan dalam kereta. So bagi saya lah, kalau boleh janganlah keluar banyak. 1 orang, 2 orang keluar bolehlah untuk beli barang keperluan. Kalau tak ada apa-apa keperluan nak dibeli, jangan keluar. And then kalau keluar jangan bawa budak, baby lah paling bahayalah untuk dia. And then kalau kita ada simptom batuk kah, sesama kah, demam, seketika, kalau boleh kita jangan keluar, kita duduk di rumah, jaga kesihatan di sini dulu lah.
Some people they opt for online delivery service, like they purchase groceries online, and I've seen some people suggest on social media that they can leave their groceries outside for 3 days to kill the virus, or repackaging all the dry food, washing the fresh food with soap. Is all of this necessary?
Okay, so I'll answer your first question. So right now, Jom Pharmacy, we have all the online apps for you. So without stepping out from your home, you can also online purchases like apps such as like Nana. What apps do we have?
Okay, kita di Pharmacy kami ada GrabMart.
Yes, GrabMart.
And then kita ada Grab Delivery. And then yang paling baru kami ada Live.
Yes, all these 3 apps can enable us like very convenient. We can just online and then order the stuff and pay, and then the driver will just send the items of purchase to your house. So it's very convenient. And also the second question, right, regarding can we just leave our grocery outside the house, right? But actually, there's no evidence stating that sunlight, UV ray can kill the virus. So actually you can, if you are still afraid, you can actually use an alcohol wipes to clean the packaging surface. But however, I have to say that experts say that there's no evidence that the virus transmission is through the food packaging. So you can rest assured for this one. And so for like your fruits and vegetables, it's better like after you purchase them, you bring it home, you wash it with water first. And for the canned food, before you use the canned food, right, or you eat the canned food, you can clean the lid. And now remember to always wash your reusable bags so that it's always clean.
Yes. Yeah. And since all of these apps, they actually encourage the cashless payment.
Yeah.
So speaking of cashless payment, because of COVID-19, more and more people are opting for this kind of payment. So how important is cashless payment, and how can it potentially help curb the spread of COVID-19?
Okay, so right now, Jom Pharmacy also provide a lot of like cashless payment, for example.
Kita ada Sarawak Pay.
Yes, Sarawak Pay.
And then kita ada Boost application juga.
Yes, so we have this cashless payment, right? So it will help to minimize actually the contact of like if you pay using cash or coins, because there are also some studies which state that actually when the virus can stay on the surface, but there's no evidence on how long they can survive on the surface. But to be on the safe side, we try to minimize the contact. So if you really need to contact with the currency notes or the coins, it is best that you protect ourselves. Like you have to be very hardworking to wash your hands after the contact, or you can wear gloves as a protection, and of course after that you have to dispose it safely. Yes.
Yeah. With that being said, the use of cashless payment is still crucial in reducing the spread of COVID-19,
that's
right?
true. Yes.
Yeah. It's time to talk about food and coronavirus. As the coronavirus pandemic prompts many restaurants to close dining rooms, food delivery services are seeing increased sales during this period of time. As we all know, the virus is not transmitted in food, but some suggest that the virus may be transmitted on the food. So how do we handle the food when it's delivered? I've heard many people on social media, they suggest microwaving the food to kill the virus.
Have you heard of microwaving? Boleh kan? What do you think? Boleh bunuh kan?
What do you think?
Kalau bagi saya, tidak pastilah dengan itulah. Tapi dependnya individu lah. Kalau dia rasa microwave itu boleh bunuh bakteria ataupun virus dalam makanan, dia boleh ikut. Kalau certain tak percaya pun tak apalah.
So
individu lah.
So we know that actually the transmission of COVID-19 is through droplets, and sometimes when we touch a surface which maybe is infected with the virus already, and then the infected areas that after we touch, right, and we touch our own face, our own nose, we might get it too, right? But this is not really the main way of transmission. So there are some studies which shows that actually the coronavirus has very poor survivability on food surfaces. So the risk of spreading through food, right, it's quite low actually. So regarding the questions whether microwave can kill virus, I think maybe, but there's actually a study in CDC. It says that it actually can kill virus if you put it under 1 minute to 5 minutes. So, but my personal opinion is that it varies, because like the microwave is not the same, right?
Yes.
So
that depends.
That depends, I guess.
Yeah. All right. So when it comes to takeout versus delivery, having food delivered is riskier. So because the delivery workers, they meet strangers every day, and they might face higher exposure to customers who may be sick. So what can we do to protect ourselves upon picking up the delivery? I'm pretty sure all of us here, we order delivery quite often.
Yeah, it's because it's too convenient right now. So for that, it's true that because the delivery person, it actually contacts with different surfaces, right? But I'm quite surprised to see that our public, our customer too as well, they know that they actually have to protect themselves. So they go for like contactless delivery, because like I got saw some very interesting notes they write to the driver, like macam mana you do you remember what they write for us?
Letak barang dekat gate, and then letak barang dekat depan pintu. Ini ada certain customer kan dia sedia meja dekat depan gate.
So actually they are aware of this,
orang
right?
letak sana saja.
So I think it's very interesting. They say, "Oh, please hang my product on the
that
gate."
is to avoid direct contact.
So I think it's good.
Worker.
It's very good for
yeah,
that.
that's pretty smart.
Yes, you're right.
And also, with dining in now banned in Sarawak, besides food delivery, drive-through actually has also become an alternative option for many people.
Yes.
So, I think the greatest risk that we face is our interaction with the server. Like, can you advise us the best way to reduce COVID-19 risk when picking up food from drive-through?
Yes, as we have mentioned just now, those very important steps are
cuci tangan.
yes,
And then kita perlukan penjarakan sosial jugalah. And then pakai face mask jugalah.
just make sure that our distance with the worker, right, is at least 1 meter, not too close to contact. And then after you have picked up the food, remember to sanitize your hand. And then you wash your hand when you go home. With the correct technique also.
Let's talk about the common health problems during the month of Ramadan. I would like to ask Nana, what are the common problems that usually arise in the month of Ramadan?
Common problem is during Ramadan, selalunya kami akan kena dehydration, gastric, constipation, and then headache.
Headache juga lah. Rasa macam letih lesu juga lah,
lemah badan.
Yeah, I think dehydration is really common. So,
yes.
Do you have anything to suggest to prevent dehydration during the month of Ramadan?
Yes, minum air penting kan?
Paling penting minum banyak air dan waktu bersahur. And then jangan kurangkan makanan manis, minuman manis, dan paling penting jangan minum kopi. And then kurang teh masak, kurangkan letak garam dan ajinomoto lah.
Because you know that coffee, right? Coffee is actually diuretic. So when you consume too much, right, you tend to go to toilet to urinate. So you will lose a lot of water during that time, and ajinomoto and a lot of salts kan, gula yang banyak juga. Like all this thing can actually increase our thirst. We feel very thirsty easily. So that's why we need to consume a lot of water.
Plain water lah.
Plain water. Yes.
I'm actually concerned with the people with gastric problems. Like, how can they fast safely if they have gastric problems?
Okay, so if gastric problems, I would suggest that you have to talk to your doctor first, or you can discuss with your doctor about your situation, and then they will give you advice on how to change the time of taking the medication of your gastric too as well. And if you have this problem, so you have to avoid taking painkillers, the NSAIDs, the stronger type, like for example mefenamic acid, naproxen, ibuprofen. All those are the stronger kan. Okay, so if you take this, it will increase the risk of like gastritis. Okay, and then if it's possible, try to relax, because stress can also lead to like this kind of problem, gastritis problem. And of course, spicy food kan, pedas. Apalagi kopi pun tak boleh
sebenarnya.
So actually we have some products kan Nana yang boleh bantu punya untuk macam masalah gastrik kan.
Kita boleh ambil macam prebiotics, and then enzyme, kandungan enzyme untuk jaga kita punya usus lah.
Like probiotics kan dia bagus untuk kesehatan usus juga, and then it can help us to boost our immune system. So it's a good choice that you can take lah. Kan?
Since we talk about digestive system, and I remember just now Nana also mentioned about constipation, right? I think constipation is quite common. So, what are the advice that you can provide to people who suffer from constipation?
Constipation.
Like what food can they take?
Untuk kita yang ada constipation, paling bagus kamilan nutrisi yang bagus lah. Contohnya kita ambil sayur-sayuran, minuman fiber, biji urin pun boleh juga ambil waktu bersahur untuk elak kena constipation lah. Sebab bulan puasa memang kurang minum air, memang constipation memang selalu datang lah.
I think we have to consume enough water also. And then for like vegetable and fruit, it's a must lah. It's a must. And then if you don't like to, you can also blend it to like fruit juice. It's also a good option also to keep you like hydrated too.
Yeah, that's a very good point. And I think most people, they suffer from headache as well. Is that common? Is that very common?
Common. Because whole day letih, lesu, and then tak cukup rehat, mungkin sebabkan headache akan datang.
Then how can we mitigate the effect of the headache?
Macam mana kurangkan dia? Biasanya
kurangkan kalau boleh elakkan buat kerja keras lah. And then pastikan rehat secukupnya lah.
Make sure you rest enough. The night before, yes, you have to rest.
Berat lah.
But as far as I know, Nana, you're still working, right?
Yes.
How do you manage to stay energized throughout the day? Do you mind sharing a little bit?
Pengambilan nutrisi yang betul lah. Contoh ambil air banyak, and then makanan mesti seimbang. Kalau boleh ambil macam biji-biji urin lah, macam cereal, untuk tambah tenaga lah. Paling bagus kita boleh ambil buah kurma juga untuk bulan puasa, untuk bersahur.
Oh, that's a good choice.
Yes, like taking multivitamins or vitamin C can help to boost our immune system. And multivitamins, right, we can like the nutrients, the minerals that we need is also can be supplied to us.
It's important to maintain your health during the whole period of Ramadan. And also, let's not forget, with the current COVID-19 situation, it is now more important than ever to keep yourself healthy. So, fasting can be a challenge for anyone, but it can be especially difficult for people with diabetes. So, what are the guidelines that you can provide to diabetics so that they can fast safely?
Okay, so especially those patients who have this diabetic problems, it is best for them to consult a doctor first, because they will because there is a special rules and regulations, like they have to have some changes towards their diet and also how they take their medications. And there are certain category of patients which is not suitable to fast, like for example pregnant ladies with using as they are using insulin, and also patients who have uncontrolled blood glucose, and elderly who are staying alone at home, and also those who have like previous complications like diabetic complications, and those who have like serious hypoglycemia during the past 3 months, or they always have this kind of problem. Those are the candidates that, if you want to fast, it's better to consult a doctor first. So there are 4 important components for the diabetic patients. The first one, of course, is the diet, and the second one is their compliance towards their medication, and third one is the physical exercise, and the fourth one is to monitor your blood glucose daily. So for the diet wise, I would like to ask Nana to help us to explain.
Okay. Kami sini ada buat recommend for statistik peratusan lah, and then 50% during sahur, 40% during subuh, then 10% after solat tarawih lah. Yang pertama sekali jangan skip makanan, and then yang kedua jangan makan terlampau banyak, and then ketiga pengambilan fiber yang cukup. And then yang keempat, kurangkan pengambilan gula, and then ambil yang ada jirin yang ada low GI lah. And then physical activity, contoh exercise lah, 90 minit before sahur kalau boleh lah, and then 1 hour selepas bersungkir, And then activity boleh dilakukan juga lah selepas bersahur. And then type of exercise
boleh buat apa? Cardio
boleh
sih.
buat
Cardio.
selepas sungkir lah boleh buat. And then blood sugar.
Blood sugar juga perlu monitor lah. Like
Yeah.
macam sebelum buka puasa kan, we should maintain the blood glucose level around 4 to 6, and then for after 2 hours after buka puasa, and then we should maintain our blood glucose level around 4 to 8 millimole per liter.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you for your advice. And also, I'm wondering, because some pregnant women, they choose to fast during Ramadan. And do you have friends who fast with pregnancy or breastfeeding? What are the guidelines they can follow to keep themselves safe?
Okay. Saya ada kawan yang pregnant lah. Buat masa dia bulan puasa, memang dia tidak dapat puasa. And then depend individu lah. Kalau dia dapat berpuasa and then tidak memudaratkan kandungan dia, dia boleh berpuasa lah untuk 1 hari. Kalau dia tak boleh berpuasa, dia boleh tak puasa lah. And then perlu jaga kandungan jugalah. Kalau kita puasa bagi tidak safe untuk baby pun tak bagus juga.
Yes. Do you have anything to add on, like, does fasting impact milk production or impact the health of either the mother or the baby?
Oh, so for breastfeeding part, right? So previously she said that pregnancy. So I did ask her, is it allowed? Actually, it's allowed, right, for pregnancy. But my advice is, please consult your doctor first. Please assess your. Maybe you feel that you're okay, but really, you never know, right? So it's the best that you seek for the
Pregnancy muda, kurang air.
Yes, so it's quite dangerous. So you have to see a doctor, assess your health condition. If it is okay, then maybe the doctor will give you some suggestions for how to properly fast during pregnancy. And as for breastfeeding, for us, we feel that we don't really encourage, because it will affect, right? It will affect the production of milk as you have lesser intake of nutrients. We scared that it might affect the baby also. But if you want to, you can also seek for the advice from the doctor as well.
Since we talk about nutrients, let's get into sahur. So fasting from dawn to dusk can be exhausted.
Yeah.
So sahur is really important. It's really important. So what food do you recommend to be included in sahur?
So for sahur, right, we would recommend that if you take the more complex carbohydrates, like for example, ada apa yang kira macam more complex punya?
Complex.
Cereal.
Boleh ambil brown rice.
Brown rice as compared dengan tu nasi biasa saja kan?
Brown rice boleh.
What do you usually eat for your sahur?
Makan.
Kalau saya bijirin,
Bijirin juga.
bijirin lah.
Yeah.
Those are untuk 1 hari yang simpan tenaga lah. Dengan karbohidrat pun tinggi juga.
Yes, these are considered the more complex one. So they have a lower GI index, which is the glycemic index. So when you consume, then it will take a longer time to be absorbed in the body, and also it won't the glucose level won't spike out. So it have a more consistent glucose level in the body, so you can stay longer for the whole day for the energy level. Yeah,
that's right. What about songke? There's often a temptation to overeat or load up on sugary beverage.
When you're very hungry.
Yeah,
right?
during songke. So, what's the food that you can recommend to take and what food to avoid?
Okay. First, selepas bersuka, kita minum 1 gelas air first, and then ambillah sedikit buah kurma ataupun buahan. And then after that, dalam 5 minit, 10 minit, then kita makanlah nasi ke lauk ke. Kalau ada kuih-muih pun boleh juga. Jangan terus kita makan nasi. Kalau kita makan nasi and then stomach full, and then kita jadi malas. Yeah.
So usually take kurma first.
Yeah, kurma first.
Okay, yeah.
Yes, I think we should really avoid like caffeinated drinks still because like it will cause an upset stomach because of its exudate properly. And it's important to consume enough vegetables and fruits. Just now we said that, right? Because it contains a lot of fiber, nutrients, and vitamins, so that to prevent a lot of like gastric problems, and then also for constipation, right?
Nutrisi yang seimbang lah.
Yes, complete nutrition.
Complete nutrition.
Thank you so much for your advice. We're from John Pharmacy, bringing you the latest health tips. Stay
safe, stay healthy, and stay with us.
And don't forget to subscribe. See you next time.
Bye.